I am so excited to show you a new tool that came into the Sedge tool shop this week. I haven't been this impressed in years. Just recently, we released a video on the Sedge tool channel. I have a link below in the description. And I mentioned upgrades in the shop. The number one thing is don't keep a blind eye. Always have an open mind. I never, ever, ever thought it would be that easy. If you have a track saw, you need parallel guides. It allows you to rip plywood or any wood perfectly parallel, like a table saw. And with the right set of parallel guides, you truly don't need a table saw. So, you need to have the right ones. Here's what I'll tell you. For 18 years, I've been using another set. I didn't think anybody could make it better. TSO has done it, and I will go through it step by step with you. So what makes this different is the accuracy here, the cursor, and how this goes on and off the rail, lickety-split like this. So when I first looked at this, I was a little confused on how to order it. It's pretty simple. The basic kit is here. Okay, you have to choose if you want 20-inch rails, 30-inch rails, or 50-inch rails. Okay, and if you really look at this, there's a bunch of pieces and parts. It's not a lot. It's super simple to put together, and I'll put it together right now. So the way I ordered it, I wanted the 30-inch rails in case I needed to do base cabinets. I used parallel guides predominantly by ripping down sheet goods, okay, and building cabinets. I needed 300 millimeter rips and 600 millimeter rips. So I chose the 30-inch, pretty easy. And you get everything pretty much in a 2-pack. The 30-inch rails, you get 2 of these really, really precise stops. You get these drop locks. These can interchange between the rails if you buy multiple lengths. It comes with 8 screws to attach the drop locks to the rails, and it comes with this $300 3mm hex. So the first thing I'm going to do is put the drop locks onto the rail, and it couldn't be any easier. These holes right here on the rails self-center the drop lock on the rail, and it is wicked easy. So what I'm going to do, because I want to show you how easy this is, I'm going to hit my start button here. I'm going to slide it in just like this, and because I have fat fingers, it just takes me a second to put this on. And what you do is you take that 3mm wrench or hex key and you just spin them on like this. I don't tighten them all the way in the beginning because I want to make sure they do self-center. And then I'll go back and I'll retighten each one. And boy, TSO could not have made this any easier, and you'll see how wicked accurate these are once we do our basic calibration. Okay, so that took me, a whopping 44 seconds to put one of those drop locks on. So the way the drop locks connect to the rail is by pushing forward and aiming it into the outside rib of the track and letting it go down, and that is an angle between 30 and 45. So the first thing you're going to notice is, and you know TSO does everything to exact tolerances, there's a little bit of wobble here. So what we want to do is calibrate this by these 2 hex screws, they're 3mm, to the rail. And it's pretty simple. You just take it, and there's little Delrin ends on these, and you just tighten them up so they sit taut to the rail. So as you adjust the 2 screws, you still want this to move effortlessly, but you don't want it to fall off. So This is a simple calibration trick. Okay, I've tightened these up, but what is too tight? Watch as my rail is flat. Watch the rail here come up. That's too tight. So what I do is I slowly back it off so it sits flat. And that is calibrated for life. So now there is zero play, and those hexes have a little Delrin tip on it, and you can move those freely up and down the rail and know you have that accuracy. So the nice thing is when you're moving this around after you've calibrated it, it is dead on accurate, but you can still move them and take them on and off wicked easy. So in the Sedge tool shop, here's a quick tip for you. When you are putting those drop locks on your rails, just make sure that that outside edge doesn't have a ding or a dent, because some of mine do. And so it's just an easy fix. Move the drop lock off of the ding or dent in the outside of the rail, and those 2 points of contact will be dead on. So when you first grab this flip stop, you're gonna notice the taper to the cursor, and you're gonna notice how it just has a nice feel and finish to it. It's really heavy duty. It's spring loaded, and that's what I like about this. So when I put it on, I could take it, slide it right on, and move it up. Of course, I'm using the Festool system. That's what I've always used. But did you know the new Gen 2 parallel guides from TSO also fit the Craig system, the Makita system, the Milwaukee system, the Rigid system, the Power Tech, and the Wen system. All the different guide rails from all those different companies. So here comes the calibration of those flip stops. It's pretty easy, but let's stop right there. Let's take a time out and let's observe our splinter guard. I know these splinter guards are fresh splinter guards because I replaced them about a month ago. I have these 2 rails exclusive to my TS60 from Festool, but I also have them calibrated for my 75, and there's a video, I'll link in below, how to calibrate saws, 2 different or 3 different saws to one guide rail system. So I want to take this scale and calibrate it to my splinter guard. And it's pretty simple. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab both of these. I'm going to bring it in and make sure they're about 150 millimeter or 6 inches apart. So I'm going to take this and set the cursor after I brought them in within 6 inches or 150 millimeter. I'm going to tighten it up exactly at 8 inches, each one of these. Remember earlier I talked about the cursor and how accurate it is? Well, you'll see it's tapered down to almost a knife edge. So when I take this and set it at 8 inches, you can see it's exactly there, no matter where I'm standing or looking, and that will eliminate what is known as parallax. So some of you may be wondering why I'm using Imperial to set these parallel guides, because I use a lot of metric. Well, I'm going to set this at 8 inches. And the reason is I'm going to go to one of the most reliable squares in my shop. It is my Starrett combination square to set this, and I don't have a metric scale on here. You know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to upgrade to a combination square from Woodpeckers that has the metric scale on it. So I have this set at 8 inches, and I take it and I slide it under the rail up against the splinter guard, so it's showing right here. So the scale is reading 8, but these aren't touching there. So back here, that little hex, I can turn it, and you'll see how it goes right to the end of the combination square rule. And I can dial that in absolutely perfect. So we have them calibrated. And here is the beauty of these parallel guides with those drop lock systems. I am going to go from a 1400 rail to a 3000 rail. And what I'm gonna do, and this is my test, to check the accuracy throughout the whole board or the whole rip, is I'm gonna mark my board here at 400 millimeters because I want 400 millimeter rips for the cabinetry I'm building for Sys AZ drawers. So I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna make sure this is marked exactly at 400 for my eye. So I've calibrated these on a smaller piece of wood and a smaller guide rail. So let's take this, drop them on. Ooh, doggy, that was difficult. I have them set exactly at 400 millimeters each one, and I'm gonna take that and drop them on. So for me, the real test is over the 8-foot length. And when I bring this in, check this out. It lines up and gets my line exactly where I want it. So a little track saw finesse when you're using the longer rails. These are the 30-inch. They could get in the way, especially if I start back here. So what I like to do is I like to start right here in this little area, and I make sure that my blade is before the board, and when I plunge, I walk it through like this. Now, as I've been using these, I realize how much I love these because I used to maneuver this 3000 rail, and the parallel guides that I was using were stuck to it. And I'd have to take it, set it on the ground. Now I can just do this, take it out, bring it over here, take this one out, bring it over here, take my rail, mark my board 400, and go on to my next cut. Those go on and off so quick, it makes ripping down plywood effortless. Now here is the last test that I have to get in my mind. So if I look at this, on this end, it's exactly 400 millimeter. So that's great, right? But here's the real test. Let's go down here. And I wanna make sure you understand this. I had already straight line ripped the piece of plywood, so I know this was a clean edge, but I'm gonna come over here and check this out. And over 8 feet, it's exactly 400 millimeter. But here's the kicker to parallel guides. I didn't have to, schlep that big piece of plywood through a table saw, because sometimes through a table saw, you waver. So another true test of this is right in the middle, and you'll see that throughout this whole rip, it's 400 millimeters. I'm gonna set this here for cross cutting. I'm gonna take the board out now, okay, bring it out here, and I'm gonna move my rail in, and this is how easy it is to connect it on and off. It makes something that was cumbersome before so much easier, because I know that next rip is gonna be dead on 400 millimeters. Okay, so there's a couple things as we wind down this video to note. One, you see these pieces here, what we call the drop lock, as they go on and off? You can buy extras of these for, I believe it's around $65 for each one. So if you think about it and you go back in this video and see how easy it is to put the self-centering screws in there, I was thinking about getting an extra set for the shorter ones, but I decided how easy that was. So I'm gonna say, hey, you can if you want to. All right, if you're in a hurry. The next thing is on the TSO website, there is a killer PDF on there on the setup, but also they have great videos on calibration as well. I just took it a couple extra steps today. And also, there's another great video. I'll have a link in the description below. It's Jason Bent's video from Bent's Woodworking. He's got quite a few views out there, and it really pushed me to get these. Okay, so as we wrap this up, I hope this video made sense. Oh, wait a minute, we got a question. Hey, if you made it this far in this video, hey, have you subscribed to the Sedgetool channel? Please do. This helps Chris and I continue producing this content for you. Okay, next, here's the question. Do you use pneumatic nailers or cordless nailers, and which brand do you prefer? So as the way I always say, from the Sedgetool shop, be positive, stay sharp, and we mean whoop, 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 wicked sharp.